I want to remind everyone to turn off your cell phones or put it on vibrate. Thank you.
Services, if everyone please make sure your cell phones are off when you vibrate position. We do appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if able, please rise for the rendering of military honors. All right, 3 dollars. And salute. Ready, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, you may now be seated.
Will you please stand? Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day, for the military honors given to Senior Chief Alan Kampenga. This is a grateful nation for those who has once served and for those that are still serving. And as we begin this memorial service, as the children, loved ones, and friends honor this man, we want to first honor you and worship you for being the light and the hope of all of us here, for being our comfort in times when we have so many questions. Help us to worship you this morning for who you really are. God, take control in Jesus' name. Amen. Let's remain standing as we worship you, Lord.
Let's worship God this morning.
Hallelujah.
For He is the author of salvation, and He is the author of peace. We worship you, God. We honor your name. Everyone needs compassion, love that's never failing. Let mercy fall on me. Everyone needs forgiveness, kindness of a Savior, the hope of nations. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave.
rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave. Savior, He can move the mountains. My God is mighty to save. He is mighty to save. Forever, author of salvation. He rose and conquered the grave. Jesus conquered the grave.
God, this morning, we will continue to declare your goodness, your greatness in our friends, in our families, in our personal lives, God. Lord, we continue to declare your greatness. Thank you, God.
Yes, Lord. Hallelujah.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God.
Oh, you are great, God.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God.
For your name,
Your name above all names. You are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing how great is our God.
we praise your name.
You're the name above all names. You are worthy of all praise. And my heart will sing how great is our God. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God.
You are great, Lord.
Hallelujah.
How great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. And all will see how great is our God.
Oh, God. Oh, we want to express our love to you, oh God. From our hearts to the heavens. Oh,
And oh, how He loves us so. Oh, how He loves us. How He loves us so. And oh,
be seated. We want to welcome everybody to the memorial service. I'd like to call on Richard for the welcoming remarks and scripture reading.
Thanks for everybody coming out here. I know my aunt came from Missouri. I know my other aunt came from Illinois, Indiana. You know, all of you coming from all over the place. I appreciate you coming out to support me and my sisters and my mom as we lost my father last week. I mean, it's been hard. I mean, this last week has been hard on all of us actually. So I appreciate you guys coming out. I appreciate my brother Norman actually flying here from Houston. I appreciate my brother Tony back there, the two Tonys back there, the Victor back there. I appreciate y'all coming out here. I appreciate my brother Sean coming out here. You know, you guys got live, and I appreciate you coming out to support me and my family as we go through this process. I don't know what else. You know, my niece, my nephews and nieces, and coming out here also with their dad driving like all night long to come out here to be here for this. I really appreciate it. I'm sure my sisters do as well. But what's next? I want to move on to the next thing. What's next? Scripture? Well, is that you for scripture or is that my scripture reading? Okay. I'm going to be crying here after I do read my eulogy. Here you go. Your eulogy while my eulogy's here. Okay.
Be strong. You got this.
Don't fall asleep, please. I really couldn't hear that anybody. I just want to tell you what I feel in my heart about my father and how important he was to me and all the wonderful things he did for me and my sisters and my family, you know, while I was alive. Alan Thomas Kampenga, what makes the greatest dad in the world? Alan Thomas Kampenga was born on 15 November 1949 in Rensselaer, Indiana, to Thomas and Alice Kampenga. Siblings, Kenneth, Ruth Ann, Arlene, and his little sister, Margaret. He joined the U.S. Navy and served in the Vietnam War, protecting our freedom. He met the love of his life, my mother, Miss Florida Orgilda, shortly after leaving Vietnam and going to the Philippines. Cavite, is that right? Cavite City, Philippines. He was so in love with her that he actually located her where she went to school, right? And he was asking everybody around to the point where she got in trouble by the head staff because he's out there looking for this girl, right? So, and he loved her till basically his last breath on April 6, 2019. They had 4 wonderful children. Mary Ann, which is my sister up front, followed by me, obviously. And my younger sister Marilyn, and our youngest sister Christine. Unfortunately, the Lord took her a month after she was born because she had a hole in her heart. So she's already up there with Dad. They're already rejoicing. He's already seeing her, and he's getting to see his little girl. Unfortunately, our Lord called, like I said, their life together took them to Yokosuka, Japan, where their first child was born, Mary Ann. They followed that adventure with a tour to Great Lakes, Illinois, where they were blessed with their second child, me. And 2 years later, the Lord delivered their third child, Mary. After Alan's tour was complete, his next station was in Sardinia, where the fourth child was born, Christine. This is where I can remember from, I must have been 3 or 4 times. Going out with my dad, my mom, and sisters and taking pictures. My mom and dad love taking pictures of everything. I know this because we have hundreds of slides at home. Hundreds of slides. With all these pictures, I remember my dad pulling them out and remember our memories. And Mary Ann and Marilyn can contest that he used to pull these things out. Pull these out. Someday I'll try to get them posted to Facebook so everybody can see what my dad saw when he was taking them. After he finishes his tour in Italy, He was then stationed in San Diego. I have fond memories with my dad and my sisters in San Diego. I remember Mary, we were sitting in the back of his Spitfire, and we're watching those planes take off and land. He was telling us all about the planes, what kind of planes they were. Unfortunately, my dad and mom split during this time frame. But they tried to make their split not affect us. Memories flood my mind. Me and my sisters flew from San Diego to Seattle one year, and we were actually really young. Mary might have been like 7 or something. Flew by ourselves to see my dad in actually Seattle. I remember sitting in the hallway of his apartment or barracks, wherever he was at, and he got me a little Dukes of Hazzard car. The Dukes of Hazzard car. I was sitting in the hallway playing with my Dukes of Hazzard car, and he had my sister had their dolls. During the summer, he took us up to Mount Rainier. I remember we went up to Mount Rainier, and Dad didn't know it was snow cap. So we got up there, but we had to come back down because snow was everywhere. So he went and got us some boots and some gloves and stuff. And we went back up there after we got all that stuff. And we were throwing snowballs at each other, and my dad was sitting there smiling. You know, so yeah. We also took a ferry. I remember that's the first time I ever took a ferry. Took a ferry. We're going to like Bremerton or somewhere up north where we need to take a ferry. And my first experience with having yogurt. I love yogurt. It was great. I didn't think I was going to like it, but because I think he said it was like sour milk or something. It was awesome for me. The following year, he took us on a cross-country road trip. First of many, we were leaving San Diego on our way to our new home in Kansas City, Missouri. We were in a Dodge Arrow. If you don't know what a Dodge Arrow is, that's a little four-seater car, but it only had 2 doors in it, right? So it was me, my mom, my grandma, my sister, my other sister, and a cat. We're all in this car together. It was a crazy trip, but we got to see a lot of places. We went and saw the Grand Canyon, we went to Zoin Canyon. We went to Las Vegas, across. Unfortunately, we lost the cat on the way, somewhere along the way between there and there. The cat died on us. Probably Grandma scared it, I don't know. And then after that, after we got to Kansas City, Missouri, where our house was at, my dad then flew back, or actually took a train back to Seattle, because he was actually going to get stationed in Virginia Beach, the last location that he was going to be at before he retired, right? So during the 2 years that he was in, during the 2 years that we were still in Missouri, my dad came and picked us up every year, and we did like cross-country road trips. We saw Mount Rushmore, we went to Niagara Falls, we went to Mammoth Cave, and a whole bunch of other cities, a whole bunch of other places. It was wonderful road trips. Sometimes we became a pain to him. I mean, he started, so you know how he always says, oh, everybody knows what I'm talking about. So he used to get upset sometimes, but I mean, it was the funnest thing. He wanted to do that with us before he passed, but all our lives happened, and it just didn't happen. Right. So eventually, me and my sisters moved in with my dad. Right. He never thought it was a bother to him, to be honest with you. I mean, he really loved us being with him, and he showed us that love and everything that he did. Due to us moving in, he had to retire from the Navy because he was about to go back, and his next tour duty was going to be on a ship. And obviously, he had us at that time. He probably could have fought that and wanted, to go back, stay in the Navy, but he didn't do that. He just opted to get out. So he got out after 20 years. But I remember all the summers that we went to Kings Dominion. And my dad, I don't know how the guy had this much energy. My dad had so much energy back then. It's crazy. We would get there like at 10 in the morning. And then we would stay there until 10 at night, where they closed the music. I'm usually beat down after going to the music park now with Peter and Kayla. And I can't even do 4 or 5 hours. He's doing like 12 with no problem. And just had all this energy. Amazes me. My children drain me daily. He spoiled me and my sisters on a regular basis. Not like he spoils his grandkids, as he ridiculously spoils them. Oh my God. I asked for candy before and he wouldn't give me nothing. Nothing. But when here now, he's old, maybe he's going senile or something, he just keeps on buying candy for these guys, keep on buying cookies, keep on having all types of stuff. Oh man. He also likes to mess with us. I remember when the Nintendo entertainment system came out, and I wanted it. My mom gave them the money to get it for me. I was so stoked about the system that I bought a game even before I even had the system. Right? For some reason, my dad had picked me up from school. This was at Independence Junior High. And I asked him if he got the system for me, and he said, he told me that he didn't get a chance to get it, but he would pick it up that weekend. I told him not to wait because they might sell out. But he told me no, they won't. So I had a spoiled fit, and I was crying all the way home. Right? I literally told him, we got to get it now, we got to get it now. And everybody knows me, knows what kind of person I am. Get it now, now, now. Right? So I went home, right? And that's the first time I met Norman, right? Norman was actually playing one of my games on my game system. And I literally pushed him out the way when I got in the door, pushed him to literally took the controller away from him. And I was like, mine, right? But as I turned around and looked at my dad, he was all smiling at me like, I got you, didn't I? I got you. You should just let me do what I need to do, right? I was so happy, I pushed Norman out of the way and started playing in the system. I got a job as a paper boy, and my sisters followed. He used to help us deliver our papers every Saturday and Sunday morning. Every Saturday and Sunday morning, he would be out there helping us deliver papers. That's what we did when we were kids. We can't do that now, but when we were kids, we rode around the bike and delivered papers, right? Well, there's a story about that right there. There are funny moments during those paper routes, but I can't count them all. I know Tony Roshan was there. I know Victor was there. Norman was there. Sean has been there a couple times. Ryan definitely was there a couple times, delivering papers with us. But there was a particular morning, right? Me and Dad had got into it, right? It was about, he wanted to deliver the papers. Basically, what we normally do is me and Norman would sit in the back, and him and one of my other friends, because my house was a congregating ground of friends. We always had friends over all the time, right? So me and Norman would deliver the papers, or me and Tony would deliver papers, or whoever was with me that day we'd get all the papers in the van, and we'd back them all up while my dad and whoever the friend was in front was delivering. Alan West sometimes, Norman, whoever it was, right? And then after we backed all the papers, me and Norman would just fall asleep on the papers, while Dad and whoever else the other guy was going and delivering them. So we're passed out in the back of the van. Remember that van, right, Mary? Yeah. Well, he wanted to change it up. Okay? He wanted to say, we're just going to bag the papers now. We're just going to bag them all now, and we're going to deliver them, and have them all done. Have that all done. But if we do it that way, then it's just him and the person in the front that we're delivering it, and me and Norman would just have to sleep in the back of the van or wherever. So I said, we're not going to do that way. We're not going to do it that way because that makes no sense. Right? So he's like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. I said, no, Dad, that's not what we're going to do. We're not going to do it that way because that makes no sense. And he goes, yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do it that way. And I said, so I said, no, we're not. And I just said, okay, where do you want these papers, Dad? In your face? I was like, I got so mad. And then when he heard that, he started chasing me around the van. Norman was cracking up. Alan West was cracking up. I was like, I'm running around the van trying to stay away from my dad. It's funny that we actually had to laugh about it after the fact, but it was funny. But we did it his way in the end. But I thought it was funny that I was doing that. But anyway, he loved doing the paper routes so much that he started doing that. He actually started doing his own. Eventually took over my routes when I got my new job at 7-Eleven. I also remember on many occasions, I don't know if Tony Roshan was part of this thing, but he might have been. I wrote him in here, but he might have been. Many occasions, after delivering papers, we were just beat down. Because normally we'd stay up like all night long playing Nintendo or whatever, Sega, And then we'd get in the van, we would deliver the papers, and we're still tired, right? So we would, me and Norman would be beat down, right? And like I said, it could be Tony too. It could be Tony. He might be trying to hide back there, but it could be Tony as well. And we would just curl up in this full-size bed that we had. Me, Norman, or me and Tony and my dad would all be curled up in this bed here, all together. I sound weird, but we didn't think it was weird back then. We were like 15 and 16-year-olds, but we were all curled up with my dad here in this bed. And it's like, I think it was strange, back then. but we didn't think it was strange, you know, and Dad didn't think it was strange. I think he liked it. My dad was a handyman too. He used to build all types of stuff, all crazy things. He made this huge entertainment center where my sister lives right now. It could take the whole wall all the way up to the ceiling, all right? And then he also built me and my sister Marilyn this bunk beds that was actually built into the wall, right? It was actually built into the wall. He also built me a clubhouse, but there was a catch. I got a clubhouse built for me, but my dad told me at the time I was skateboarding and stuff, and I had a skateboard ramp in the backyard. He told me I had to take that down before he built me a skate ramp, before he built me the clubhouse. So he actually, so I took down the skate ramp because I was thinking about making a clubhouse. So took down the skate ramp and he built me a clubhouse. I don't know how long he sat there. I know it was there when I was in the Navy, but after that I don't know what happened to it. He taught me all I know about tools, though, really. I wouldn't know anything about tools if it wasn't my dad. I'm hoping that I can take what he taught me a little bit about tools and I can pass it to my son, because right now we don't have any connection. We got to get a connection here. He's all into Minecraft and other things. I want to try to get a connection like I have with my father. So hopefully we'll find something that will be our thing that we can bond together. But taught me all about tools. He was the dad of all my friends. He made a home for my best friends, Norman and Tony. Tony's back there hiding, but he should actually be up front here. When they had no place to go, when they had no place to go, he made a home for my friends. You know, he made a home for a lot of kids, all our friends, to be honest with you. There was another time I was on the Nintendo. I let my dad know. I said, Dad, I want a Super Nintendo for Christmas. That's all I want. I don't want no clothes. I don't want no shoes. I don't want none of that stuff. I just want a Super Nintendo. Right? So, Christmas came, and no Super Nintendo. No Super Nintendo. I was so mad that I told my dad that I'm going to walk back to Mom's house. And I actually started walking back to Mom. I must have got a mile away. Norman was with me. He wasn't walk all the way back there. He was going to stop before a mile was over, but he was going to walk back. I was so mad that I said I was going to walk back. I walked about a mile, and then he picked me up and said, "Get in here!" Right? So we got my Super Nintendo. He really didn't want us to be upset or crying. Well, maybe he didn't want me because I was his son. Right? He was great. He put our needs and our wants ahead of everything and else to ensure we were truly happy. And I was truly happy with my dad, believe me. My Navy life. Dad was proud. Dad was so proud when I joined the Navy. He drove down to Recruit Training Command. Mom knows they all went down there to see my graduation. Then a month later, he drove right back down again to Meridian, Mississippi to drop off my car because I told him, Dad, I need my car because I don't want to be stuck here in the barracks all the time. So can you drop my car down, right? And sure enough, he took Tim with him. And we went down. Remember that, Tim? You might have been a little young. Maybe you don't remember that. But yeah, he drove down and dropped my vehicle with my first duty station, Sasebo, Japan. This is my dad's love for me, man. My first duty station in Sasebo, Japan, where I was stationed on ship, right? After a year, I had built up enough leave to go home, right? And everybody knows me, I'm a cheapskate. I don't like to spend any money at all. Like literally at all. If I can save money, I won't save it. Tony Mendoza knows how that is back there. But there's this thing called the Mac flight that you can get on. It's free. You get on a Mac flight, you can fly back home for free, no cost or anything. So me and my friend Grant, we got a Mac flight. We flew from Sasebo, Japan. We flew all the way back. We got to the Travis Air Force Base. The closest they could get me to getting home was McGuire, right? So I called Dad, and I said, Daddy, I need you to come pick me up at McGuire Air Force Base. Now, literally, I got there, literally an hour later, we were flying back out, right? Dad must have drove 8 hours as soon as he got off the phone with me to pick me up from McGuire Air Force Base. Because literally, when I landed in McGuire, my daddy was there. My daddy was already there. You know. I let him know literally. Yeah, I told him that. Don't know what it is. My next duty station was in Yokosuka, Japan. He flew out one year to spend 2 weeks with me. We just had a great father-son bonding time. He met my future wife and told me how much Japan had changed since he was there. I was so happy to see him, even though it cost him an arm and a leg to fly out to see me. Money didn't matter to him. Our happiness was his most important mission in life. So he actually flew out and saw me for 2 weeks. We got to see Japan again. Told me all about how it was and different than everything as it was. My Navy family. I got remarried in 2006, and since then he has made my wife a part of the Kampenga clan. He was a great father-in-law to my wife. Always God on me when I was doing something wrong to help our relationship. He gave me great sage advice due to relationship experiences. I was always ready to listen and learn to try to be a better husband. When my kids came into the world, they were his everything. With him having 14 grandkids, he had enough love for them all. He never wanted to see them suffer, both emotionally or financially. I hope I can live up to his example, both as a father and as an uncle to my kids and nephews and nieces. Those are some big shoes to fill. I hope I am half the man he was. My dad is now with the Lord. And so with our Lord and Savior sitting on the right side of God, and looking down at us now, no longer does he have to deal with diabetes, no longer does he have to deal with pain, no longer will he find with his suffering. Though we grieve him, though we grieve his loss, heaven rejoices in him joining them. It comforts my heart knowing that he will be looking down on the Kampenga authorities and Sexton families from above, standing by to greet us at the gates of heaven, to be with him again and the rest of our family. Thank you. He's gonna say something.
I want to reiterate what Richard said. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm going to start with a funny story too. I remember one day with Richard and Dad, and I was sitting on the couch. We were watching the Ten Commandments. And I remember watching this whole movie and sitting there. And Richard was watching it, and we were just sitting there. And at the end of the movie, he looks over at Dad and goes, "You know, Dad, did Jesus die?" And he looks at him and goes, "No, he lives right down the street." Those are some of the interactions we had. He tells this story all the time about the Nintendo and how we first met, and he leaves out a lot of it. It wasn't quite like that. He does come home and find out that I'm on his Nintendo, but I've never seen him before in my life. He kicks in the door, goes, "Mine!" grabs it, kicks everybody off, throws the thing out of the way. I'm like, "What the heck is this?" I'm like, "This dude is crazy. I'm out of here. I'm not gonna." From that day forward, we've been together. Wherever I was, he was. Wherever I went, he went. He's my brother. Anybody I talk to back home, he's not my best friend. He's my brother. We grew up together. We're family. When I was 14, my mom moved from Virginia Beach out to Portsmouth. We separated. He would drive out to Portsmouth to come see me. We'd come back and see Dad. We'd spend time. Right about that time, I was having a lot of issues with my family. So I was around Richard's house a lot. I felt like I really didn't belong with my mom. So I spent a lot of time around there. It's funny, you know, I don't think I knew it at the time, but now I realize that not all parents are biological. I felt like this man was like my dad. I was there all the time. He took care of me. We did paper routes together. We used to watch movies together. We cried together. We laughed together. I mean, we were a family. He was my dad. Richard was my brother. They were my sister. We were family. Years later, after Richard had already joined the Navy, I came home one day and said, "Hey, Dad, I signed up for the Army. I'm going to be leaving soon." I remember I came over and saw him right before I was about to ship out. He hugged me and told me that he was proud of me and said that I was going to be a great soldier and take care of myself. Years later, after I came back from the military, a short time after that, basically 2 months, my dad died suddenly. I was in North Carolina when it happened. So when I came home, I remember going to the funeral, and I was like, I don't really know where I need to go. I don't know where to go. So I came over to Dad's house, and I remember I sat there, and he asked me, was I okay? And I just broke down. I saw me, I cried uncontrollably. And he came over and he sat by me. He said that, he said everything's going to be okay. My dad and Richard, they met several times in the past, and he told me that he was a good man, and that he would be missed, and that he would be proud of me. My father was my world to me, but he was gone. But then I realized that I still had Dad. Eventually, I moved to Houston. I felt like I needed a different new start. So I moved to Houston, and I would call and ask, like, "Hey, how are you doing? Everything's okay?" And he would always give me the same thing. "I'm doing fine. Everything's good. I'm fine." I always would end the conversation with saying, "Hey, I love you. I'll see you soon. Take care of yourself." He would tell me to do the same. February 18th, Richard called me. He said, "Hey, Dad's in the hospital. He's in critical condition." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'm on my way. I'll be there." A couple days later, I came. When I saw him, he was in the hospital. He was incubated. He couldn't talk to me. So for the first couple of days, I would just talk to him and tell him I was there. And I love him. I would see him the next day. A couple of days later, he was able to talk, but he was in and out of it. So I said, "Hey, Dad, I'm here. I came to see you." But he was able to respond some. So I told him, "Hey, I'm here. I want you to go sit down." I'm like, I'm not even sure if he heard me. So I sit down for a while. He looks over at Richard and goes, "Where's Norman?" And I'm like, "I'm here." So I get up, we talk. I tell him, "Hey, I had a stroke a few weeks ago." He's like, "I know, Richard told me." I said, "I'm okay now." And I said, "I need you to be okay too. So we need to make a pact. If you promise me that you're going to take care of yourself, I'll promise I'll do the same." He's like, "Okay." Later I went home, and on April the 6th, he told me that Dad passed away. I said, I'm on my way. On the flight over, I wondered what I would say up here. But I said I was going to tell him how I feel. "Dad, I love you. Thank you for all you did for me. You never made me feel different. I can never repay you for the things you did for me. You helped me become the person that I am. I love you.
Who wants to talk to Dad? Who wants to say something about Dad?
Peter.
Well, Grandma, say something.
Wow, okay.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming and being with us. I'm Alan's ex-wife, but we got separated in a good ways. He was in the Philippines, stationed in Cavite City, in other base. My cousin stationed there. She was married to American sailor. I was in college. I was in my first year in college when I met him. My cousin's husband introduced me to him. And it's funny because he asked one of his co-workers how to court a Filipino girl. So his co-worker, it was a Filipino guy, told him, okay, you're going to court a Filipino girl, you have to bring alcohol for her dad, and cigarette if he smoked, and chocolate for the mother. So the first time he came over at my parents' house, he brought all this stuff, and I said to him, why did you bring all these things? Oh, I asked my co-worker how to court a woman. So I was surprised because when I met him at my cousin's house, I thought he just want to be friends because my parents are very strict people. When you go to school, after school you go home. No other stuff. Waste, stuff buy or anything, just go home. So, anyway, when he comes over at my parents' house, and he tells my parents that, oh, I like to come over here to see your daughter. And my dad is kind of mad and he's kind of upset because my dad, he really wants me to go to school. He wants me to finish my course because I was trying to be an accountant and a CPA. But then again, we have 10 kids in the family. My parents are raising 10 children. I guess because at that time, I came from a poor family. At that time when I was growing up, we have no TV. We have nothing because we're poor. And so therefore probably, when the sun down, they all go to sleep. We go sleep early so that they have nothing else to do. But anyway, I grew up with my family, with my cousin. They're staying with us, living with us. One day, he came over at my school. He asked my cousin where I go to school. And at that time back then, when you're walking with a white guy, and they think you're a bad person, So he comes to my school one day. The first time he comes to my school, my last class. I went home early because my last class, my professor didn't show up. I think she was sick. So anyway, when we have no class at my last class, I went home. So he got there before noontime and I left like 11 o'clock in the morning. So he stood up there from 12 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon looking for me. So, and these are school supplies right there by the gate, the school supplies. That was Saturday morning. And then when the next day my cousin came over to our house and told me, where are you? Alan came by to your school and he didn't see you. He stood up there for 5 hours. And I said, oh, we have no class at my last class, so I went home. So, and then he told my cousin, ask her what time she really go to school and what time she goes home. So I called my cousin. A month later, he showed up again. But I go back. That was Saturday when he came to my school, right? So Monday I went to school because I go to school Monday to Saturday. So 6 days a week. So I went to school Monday, the following Monday, and then those the American was here, they stayed too long because I had to buy my journal. Every other day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I had to buy my journal to use for my class. Anyway, they're talking about the white guy. The American guy is here, he stayed too long. I wonder who he's waiting for, who's looking for. And then a month later, he came back to my school, and he came so early to make sure he don't miss me. So he goes, and I said, oh my God, I was going out by the door, and I saw him, I said, oh my God, I said, that's my friend Alan, and my classmate walking by with me. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, that American guy by the door, by the gate, he's my friend. And he goes, oh really? Because they were surprised because I was not talking about American and to anybody. But anyway, when I get to almost to the door, he walked by, I said, hi Glory, how are you? And I kind of ashamed because, back then in the Philippines, right, you guys know that if you know some American guy, they think you're no. And anyway, so he came in, so he told me, let's go take a taxi. I said, oh no, I'm not taking no taxi with you. We're taking the jeepney. So the jeepney is a public transportation. So the jeepney, there is a seat on that side and a seat on this side. And I told him, he was going to sit beside me. I said, no, you don't sit beside me. You sit on the other side. I was really very sensitive with my friend with him because, people, especially in Manila, people get bad thinking when you're with American. So you sit on the other side. So he will be sitting on the other side, and he will pay. This is for two, and then I went back the next day at school, and they asked the following Monday, and my classmate, because hey, who's that American guy with you? Do he has a friend? Do he has a brother? Introduce us. I said, I don't know anybody except him. I told them, and and on he comes to my school to pick me up. We just go home to my house. My parents are, my father always mad at me. Are you skipping school? And they think that I was skipping school because I'm always in America coming home, right? So I said, no, I was in school. He came over to my school and picked me up. And there is time he will come over early in the morning, in the weekend. He would, like 7 o'clock in the morning. And I grew up in a bad neighborhood. It's not exclusive neighborhood. I grew up in Manila, in Tondo, Manila. So it's not a good place. There is some areas it's not a good place. But everybody knows my father because my father is one of the officials of the neighborhood. So everybody, bad people, good people, they know my parents. But anyway, he will come there early in the morning, he will bring stuff, and these people will see him, and they will help me take the stuff to my folks' house. And he has no fear going to my parents' house, just to see me. And there is a evening, he will come to my parents' house like 8 o'clock in the morning. And what are you doing here? It's late evening, because, in Tondo, it's hard to walk around, especially our American guy. But he has no fear. He just continued doing that. I known him for 6 months, and he's going to get transferred to Yokosuka. And he told me, he know it before we got married. And he told me, I want to marry you. And I said, what? He goes, because I only know him for 6 months. And he said, I'm going to Yokosuka, I'm going to Japan. I don't want to leave you here without marrying you. And I said, no, you're going to ask my father. My father, I don't know if my father will allow you to marry me because I was raised, we're not spoiled. We got to listen to my parents. We got to listen to our folks. So he goes, okay, I'm going to have a talk to your dad. Oh, I told my father, he came over one Saturday. I said, Dad, I said, somebody, Annie wants to tell you something, And he wants to talk to you. It's important. And my father said, I don't want to talk to him. He goes, Dad, that is very important. He wants to tell you something. So, and then about 15 minutes later, half an hour, my father talked to him. My father said, what do you want to talk to me about? But he said to my father, I want to marry your daughter, but she told me to ask permission from you. And my father said, you know, I like my daughter to finish her school. And he told my father, because she can finish her school if she wants to when we get married. And my father goes, I'll think about it, you come back. My father told him. So later on he came back again and he asked my father, have you think about it? What I asked him. And my father, because my mother kept bugging my father, you just let her get married, you know. What are you gonna do? You want her to find a Filipino guy that no jobs, jobless, this and that. At least he has a future with him. So my father goes, okay, I'll let her marry you. So, and then he has to ask permission from his parents here in Indiana. So he took me with him in a U.S. embassy. Let's go call it, you know, I need to talk to my mother and to my father. So his mother don't want him to marry me because I guess I'm from the Philippines, you know, I'm Asian. So he told his mother, Mom, I want to marry her, you know, and after he's talking to her, I told him, I said, you know what, you don't need to marry me if your parents want you to marry me, you know, because it's too far from the Philippines all the way here if I don't get accepted as a member of the family. So, because I grew up with a loving family. I was raised with loving families. We're very close families. But anyway, he said, you know what, my mother don't want to marry, don't want me to marry you, I'm gonna marry you anyway. That's how I knew that he really loves me. So this is the thing. We got married. So I was still in school. That time, June, I was on my break, summer break. So I talked to him after we get married. Why don't I just leave me here instead of going to Yokosuka? I just stay here with my folks and still going to school. That's 2 years. I said, I'll be able to finish my course, and 2 years plus 2 years of summer class, I'll be able to do my 4 years course. He said, no, that's why I want to marry you, because I want to take you with me. So I was with him in Japan. But anyway, we're in Japan, and then he's on the ship. I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, and he's so worried about me being by myself. So I have a friend who worked, the husband and wife working in the Philippine embassy in Tokyo. So every time before he leaves in Yokosuka, he will take me to Tokyo, to my friend's house, so I can stay with them. And this is a couple that are older, like at that time they were like 40-some years old. And so he's not worried because I was pregnant. So when the ship goes, he's not going to worry about me. He came back, you know, I still, you know, at that time I'm ready to have a baby when the ship came back. But anyway, you should see his face when he says his kids, and when he says he's a very good husband. He's a very good, I cannot say bad, even I got divorced from him. I cannot say bad things about him. Sometimes, you know, so much pride, because I grew up with dignity and pride. I had so much pride, and my heart is still in my heart, but the pride is killing me now. I keep telling my kids, my pride is killing me now, because he's always with me. I got divorced when I need help, when I'm in the bind. I just call him and I need your help. He'll send me some money. He will do anything for me even we're not together. That's how much he loves. I got divorced with my second husband. He sent me flowers. He still wants me back. He still wants me back. I know that. But my pride is killing me. That's the thing that, you know, I told my children, you know, now they see all these things. You know, if you have pride, let it go. Just think what you have and what good things you have. And that's all it matters now. But if I can go back on the old days, I will go back. And, my life will still be with him. But, it's so funny. I keep looking the video. I didn't realize how good looking my husband is. When my son show me these pictures, I can say, oh, your dad is such a good looking guy. I didn't realize that when I was young. I was a young woman. He loves me. I'm married in my life. I love him. So one day, when my first month, I go back my first month in Indiana from Japan. We came back here from Japan. His mother asked me 3 times after I have 2 kids. She asked me, Florida, I don't understand why you married my son. Well, at first I told her, I said, I love my husband. I love him. That's why I married him. It's not really like you marry American and, and then you have 3 kids and then you get divorced. That's not the way I look at it. You marry somebody, you have a family. If I use my husband to come here because I came from the Philippines, I use him to come here, I won't have any children. I will get divorced before I have children. But I love my husband. So anyway, she will ask me again, Flora, I don't understand why you married my son because he's going to be too far from your family. I said, I have a family now, my own. And the 3rd time she asked me again, and you know what? Because my husband, he never talked back. Never. No matter what the family says, he never talked back. He's telling my kids that. He never protect me, he never say anything about anything. He's always just quiet. He's a quiet guy. But anyway, the 3rd time she asked me, I told her, I was working full-time at the Abbott Laboratories. It's a pharmaceutical company. And she asked me again, I said, you know what? I didn't realize I married an American. I thought American is rich. So I thought he was rich, and that's why I married him. I didn't realize I will come here, have 3 children, and work full-time job. And I thought I will come here like a queen, like not doing anything. That was wrong. So after that, she never asked me anymore. Because, I was taught not to talk back to elder. And I brought up my kids that way. Never talk back to an older. Any elder, never talk back. Just listen. And my kids, they know my kids. My kids, 2 of them, they didn't grow up around me that much because they came here when they're already teenagers. They grew up when they were little. I raised them when they were little. But I taught them not to talk back to any elder people. And you know what? I guess they all know because they get slapped in the face. I have a son that's 6'5", and he was in high school, and he tried to talk back, pow! And I talk back again, pow! What did you do that for? So listen, don't talk back again. So, I raised my kids the way parents want them to be, and I think, that's the reason why Alan, he really cared for me, and he really loves me. But like I said, pride kills me. I have so much pride for myself, and and I cannot go back anymore because he were old, I'm old, and until the last day of his life, he still think about me. And I'm gonna make this an example for all my children, all grandchildren that never follow what happened to me and him. He's always in my heart. He's always here. That's why I'm married. He still comes around. He still hugs me. He still talks to me and everything. And my husband knows that, he really cares about me. So that's why we have a good connection. We have good companion, and because of the children too, and the grandkids. We have a loving kids, we have a loving grandkids, and we're gonna live it that way. And He's always gonna be in our heart. And God will be with Him. He will be with God. He will be with the Lord. And someday when the Lord is ready for me, I'll see him up there. So, and I thank you guys for coming and sharing our pain and I appreciate you guys knowing me. And the church group, they know me, most of them, because I go with my son every time I come to Virginia. I live in Kansas City for 37 years now, so that's my home now. And I try to come here twice a year. And in fact, when I come here, he's the one who buys my ticket. He buys me ticket. He bought my ticket to come here. So that's how much he likes to be with you, like me to be with him. But anyway, he lives in my son, so I think every time I come here, I go straight to my son's house, and he's all there. So he will come. He wakes up in the morning. I'll be doing stuff in the kitchen, and then he goes up and he goes down at lunchtime, and then be doing still in the kitchen. He goes up, he goes down in the dinner time. I'll be doing in the kitchen. He didn't come in here to do all this stuff. But I enjoy serving my kids. I enjoy doing things for my kids. I enjoy cooking for my kids. And that's why my kids, they all want me around them. Especially Richard, he brag about me all the time to anybody. But anyway, I love my children, and I hope they continue, doing their lives with each other, with the siblings, with the grandkids, and their dad, even he's gone, he will be still in our hearts, and we'll continue remembering him every year of the day we die. Thank you, Alan, and he's my very, very best friend. He's my BFF. Now, that's what they call best friend forever. He's going to be in my heart until I die.
So I'm his grandson, and I miss him a lot. I have a memory that I want to share with you guys. It is at McDonald's, because he always loved us and took us everywhere to like Taco Bell. Yes, he did. He took us everywhere. Yeah. And I remember that I wanted to get my food, and he told the cashier, the cook who made the food, but he accidentally made it wrong. He actually put like all the vegetables on there, and I hate vegetables. Yeah. And Grandpa took the sandwich. He gave it to the cashier again. He took it to the cashier. He asked if he could have another one, but the cashier said that he could make me and my sister our food and give us 2 free cookies, and that's like a memory that always comes to my mind when I think of Grandpa. And I miss him.
Give it to your dad.
Any of you want to talk? Please don't be shy to come and talk about my dad.
Okay. I really don't know this guy very much. The only thing I know is my brother-in-law. I saw him twice in the Philippines. They got married in 1971. I was born 1970. Florida is the oldest, and I'm the baby. I wasn't even invited to their wedding because I was so young. So the only reason I know how good he is by talking from my parents, story from my parents and the siblings. That's the only know how I know him very well. We came to America in 1987. By then, I still don't know how he is. He will come over every summer and show his love to us, how he cares about us. At that time, that's when I realized this guy is really good. My parents are not lying, my siblings are not lying. The only thing I can tell you guys, I have so much respect with him. He loves us even though he's not even married with my sister anymore, but he cares about us as a sister-in-law. It's still like he's so married with my sister. I love him so much, and he will never, ever gonna leave my heart. He's always gonna be in my heart. That's it. I just want to share with you guys that I really didn't know him until I got here in America. He's a very good guy. He loves us until now. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Rose, and I'm one of their family, their cousin. But all of them, I don't treat them like cousin because my uncle and my aunt raised me. So I treat them just like my sister. Anyway, last year, Alan told me, Rose, I said, yeah, you never did come over and see my house. And I said, well, Alan, you know, I said, I raised kids, I'm by myself. I had 4 kids, and I spent all my money with them. I worked 2 jobs to support my kids. But last year I saw him, he says, Rose, when you want to come and see me? And I said, Alan, when I get rich, I'll come and see you. But he didn't even wait for me till I got rich and see him. He left me, he went ahead and go. But anyway, I love him so much, he's a nice guy. And all these kids, it's just like my own kids. I love them and I will never forget him. Alan, I will always love you. You're there in my heart, even though we spend too much talk about it. So, thank you guys.
My name is Pastor Eddie. I'm privileged to be the pastor of the Kampengas. On behalf of our Life Church family, I want to address Richard and his family, and Mary, Marilyn. On behalf of everyone here, we'd like to express our condolences to your family. It was during a funeral that one of the greatest miracles of life was demonstrated. It was not the feeding of the 5,000. It was not Jesus changing the water into wine. It was at a funeral that the very meaning of life was demonstrated. Not that that's more important than the other miracles Jesus did, because all his miracles were life-changing. This miracle opened the eyes of many. It gave people hope. It gave people an opportunity to do a self-evaluation on their own walk with God. This is our prayer this morning, that the message today would allow you to walk away with hope, with peace, to walk away understanding what life is all about. I'm reading from John chapter 11, verses 17 to 26. Now when Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles off, and many of the Jews had come to Martha and Mary to console them concerning their brother. So when Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went and met him. But Mary remained seated in the house. Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you'd been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask from God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet he shall live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. And Jesus asked, do you believe this? And it's the same question that Jesus that is here today is asking you. I'm not asking you this. Do you believe this? I wanted to bring everyone here back into a time when something similar happened. Someone passed away. People were crying, people were talking about how good Lazarus was. The memories he's built, just like Alan, he was built. First thing I heard about Alan was when he built your deck, your extension, you, and the memories you have with him. And a lot of things that Alan contributed and built. These things seem to be, not only did he build something, but he built something in your hearts. Well, it was the same thing back in those days. Jesus loved Mary and Martha and Lazarus. And even Jesus even wept when he heard about Lazarus dying. There are many mixed emotions in this room today. All of you who are friends, especially family, have mixed emotions about your dad, about your friend, about your brother, about Alan, because he's gone. There are four things that many of you are feeling today. First is the finality of life. Second is sadness and sorrow. And the third is fear, because life is uncertain. Finality, because today we're confronted with the finality of life. You don't feel that every day when you go to work and you're in a party or you're driving to work or driving home, coming home. You don't think about that a lot until you come to a place like this. Or you go to the hospital and someone just passed away. You don't think about death, but you think about death now. And there is a certain finality that you're thinking, it's just so soon. We forget that life will end one day. We don't think about that. We don't try to. Because life, of course, is, you need to live life. You need to be happy. There's a lot of things to do in life and to think about death. But can I tell you this, that death is not final. I believe we can do both. I believe that we can live our life to the fullest and yet be ready at any time. If death comes knocking at our door, I think you can have both. I believe you can have both. And Jesus answered the question of life when he said to Mary and Martha, he said, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, he shall live. And everyone who lives and believes in me shall never die. And then he asked, do you believe this? I really understand what Jesus was saying here. That he's not asking us to think about death all the time, but he's teaching us that we can live our lives to the fullest and yet be prepared when someday death comes knocking at our door. Do you believe that? I think that's good news. I don't know about you, but I believe when Jesus taught that there is life after someone dies, if you believe in him, that is good news, isn't it?
Yep.
Because it means that you will see your loved one again.
Amen.
It's great news that although we are mourning, although we are crying, although we are sad because we won't see him, but the truth is we will see him again. Death is not final. Jesus said that. And the answer is, believe. If you believe in me. Today, there's some of you here that need to renew your faith. I was talking to someone yesterday, he said, I gave up on God a long time ago. I don't know if he's real. Today, I want to tell you, he is. If there's somebody here today that's questioning if God is real, then life is just, there's no sense to living if what Jesus was saying was true. It means that we can live our lives here and have fun and get married and have kids and enjoy, but then if life is final, then what was all of that then? Because life is temporary here. But there is eternal life that Jesus was talking about. That is good news. And the way Jesus said was to believe that he is the resurrection and the life.
Amen.
I'm going to challenge you today to ignite and to bring back that faith, believing that Jesus is the resurrection and the life. There is sadness and mourning in this place. I know because I was waiting for, Marianne and Marilyn to say something, but of course, because of their grief, they couldn't really probably, control their feelings, and I could understand because when my father passed away, it was the same thing for my siblings. But I would like to address sadness because Jesus didn't tell us not to be sad. He says it's okay to mourn. It's okay to be sad. Because you've loved somebody so much, you've spent time with this person so much. He's given so much. And it's so hard to just forget about those things. But there is hope in what Jesus said. Because in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 4, here's what the Bible says. He will wipe away every tear from your eyes. There will be no more death or sorrow. There will be no crying or pain. All these things are gone forever. You know the story when Jesus spoke the name Lazarus. Lazarus came back to life. He's been dead for 4 days. Now, I'm just speculating. It's not in the Bible. I'm just speculating here. So this is not Bible, okay? If I was Lazarus and I was transported into this beautiful place and where there's no more crying and no more pain, no more sorrow, and I look at my body I'm no longer sick. There's no more bills to pay. I don't have to wake up at 6 in the morning to go to work. Lazarus was in a better place. But Jesus called him back. And I wonder what Lazarus was thinking. When he went back to life and he saw the cave and he was wrapped still and, because he would be mummified and people back in the day, he was probably thinking, I'm back. Oh my God, I'm back. And I feel the pain again. I feel the hurt in my arthritis, and I feel the pain in my gallop, and I know I got to take my medicine again. And he's thinking all that. I was in a better place. And can I tell you, for certainty, if you ask Alan to come back, he'll say, I would love to see you again. I would love to hug you again. I would love to give you a kiss again and tell you stories. Take you to McDonald's. I would love to do that, but I am in a better place. And I don't want to go back, because I am in the arms of the God that saved me. There is a place. This world will always have sadness. Can't stop that. We'll have its storms. But I want you to remember what Jesus said about being the resurrection and the life. He said in John 14:4, he's saying this because he was getting ready to leave. He was talking about his crucifixion and his resurrection. And in a week from now, we're going to celebrate the resurrection of Easter Sunday. I don't know how you guys celebrate Easter Sunday, but in our church, we celebrate that he's not dead. He's alive. He's not dead anymore. He's not crucified on the cross. He's alive. And he can be alive in your hearts if you want him to. He can come into your life, and he can change your life, and you can have joy even during the times of storms, because he promised that. He said, I come that you may have life, and that you may have life to the fullest. I don't know how you celebrate Easter, but in our church, we preach, we sing that Jesus is alive.
Hallelujah. Amen.
And as he was getting ready to leave, the disciples were troubled, just like some of you are. The disciples were sad because Jesus was talking about leaving. And then Jesus said in John chapter 14, verses 1 to 3, he said, "Let not your hearts be troubled." Again, he said, "Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many rooms. If it were not so, would I have not told you that I go to prepare a place for you? And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and take you to myself, and where I am, you may be also." Alan went ahead of us to a place. It didn't say limbo. It didn't say he's roaming around the spirit world. It didn't say that. Jesus said, there is a place that I'm preparing for you. You know, when I read my Bible, even before I became a pastor, this got me excited. Because I asked the question when I was in high school. I said, Lord, and whenever I would come to church, I would look at the cross and I'd say, why did you create people just to, for them to have children and grandchildren, and one day take them away? I didn't understand until one day, when I opened my Bible, I realized that everything here is temporary. You're going to leave your job. You're going to leave your families. You're going to leave your clothes. You're going to leave your car. That mortgage you have, you're going to leave that. You're going to leave your work. You're going to leave your job. You're going to leave everything behind. The Bible says, you came in naked, naked you're going to go. And the only thing that's going to be left is the question, am I going to this place? Am I ready for this place? You know why Jesus came back when Lazarus was already dead for 4 days? He should have come and healed him, but he didn't do that. He came and he waited for 4 days. You know why? Because he wanted to teach us, number one, that when you die, there is life after that. But then he said, if you believe, see, that's the question. Do you believe? Do you believe that he is the resurrection of the life? Are you troubled? And Jesus, don't be troubled, because I go to prepare a place for you. I'm excited about what Jesus said, because I know when my father passed away, he's there. He's in a place. Last thing that I know people have this morning is maybe fear. You don't know where you are in God. You messed up. Honestly, we all messed up. But you know what's great about messing up? We got someone that can clean our mess. You can't clean your mess up. Sometimes the more we clean our mess, the more it becomes messy. And that's why, there we need to come to a point in our life that we need to say, God, I messed up. My dad can't clean up my mess. My wife can't clean up my mess. My children can't. My best friend, not even the church, can clean up my mess. But God, you can. You can't clean up the mess in my life. You can give me a new start, a new beginning. We have the opportunity today to believe, to reevaluate our lives, and say, God, I need you. I messed up. Could you clean up my mess? Would you come into my life? I want to give you my heart. I want to give you the wheel. Won't you drive? Give me the driver of my life, God. Won't you take the wheel? Because I've made wrong turns, and you know what I'm talking about. But 2,000 years ago, Jesus was on the cross. He had two men that were crucified with him. The other one was adamant and angry. And here's what he said. Reading from Luke chapter 23, verse 39 and 43. One of the criminals who were hanged railed at him and said, "Are you not the Christ? Save yourself. Save us." The other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And indeed, just before we are receiving the due reward of our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." And here's the most important part. Here's the believing part. Here's the re-evaluation of your life. Because this man, after hearing Jesus saying words on the cross, he believed. And he probably thought about how much he messed up. And he said to Jesus, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." You know, the great thing about Jesus, he didn't say, "Well, why don't you first change your life?" Or, "Why don't you first come to church?" Or, "Why don't you first read your Bible?" He didn't say that. Look at the mercy of God. Look how loving your Father, Heavenly Father. Look how good God is. Jesus said, "Truly, I say to you, today you will be with me in paradise." That day, he didn't have to wait a week. That moment, when he died, he was with Jesus in paradise.
Amen.
Let's bow our heads. Father, thank you for giving us hope. Lord, you are, when we're tired, we're afraid, when we're weak, Lord, you are our strength. Lord, when we're confused and we have many questions, Lord, you're the answer. When we need help, you give us your hand and you pull us up from all our troubles. Father, today we're gathered to remember the great things Alan has done for us, how great of a father and a husband he's been, and a friend, and a brother. But one thing, the most important thing, the greatest thing Alan ever did was to believe in you.
Yes, hallelujah, Lord. Hallelujah.
To believe that you are the resurrection and the life. Now it's our turn to believe. With every head bowed and every eye closed, I'm going to give you an invitation. Actually, Jesus is inviting you today. All it takes is just a quick prayer. Question is, do you believe? If you're saying, "Yes, Lord, I need you. I evaluated my life this few minutes while the pastor was talking, and I believe that I need you in my life. I need you to change my heart because my heart's not right. I believe in you, that you are the resurrection." With every head bowed, every eye closed, no one looking. If that's you, would you slip up your hand where you are? I'm going to pray for you where you are right now. Thank you for those hands. Keep them raised. Can we pray real quick? Would you follow after me? Say, Lord Jesus, I believe that you are the resurrection and the life. Please forgive me of all my sins. I trust in you and I give you my heart. Would you forgive me, Lord? I messed up. Clean up my mess. Give me a new start. In Jesus' name. Amen. I want to thank you for coming today. As we end the service today, I'd like to call on the Kampenga family to the front. Immediate family members only, because we'd like to pray for them. Can we all stand as we switch our hands to pray for them? I'm going to give you a moment to, there's going to be a moment where you can, pay your last respects. I'd like the Kampenga family to do that first, to pay their last respects to their father, to their grandfather. Please do so. If you could just come by the casket and maybe just pay your last respects to your father before they close it. And after we pray for them, I'm going to give you the chance to come forward. I'd like to call the Kampenga family here because I'd like to pray for you. Come closer. Guys, do you believe that your grandfather just from the heart of a father and a grandfather like you. I've known him very little, but I've known him more now after your stories. If there's one thing I believe Alan would like to say to you, is love each other. Love each other. Not just love each other, but really love one another. Try to break down the walls that was established through time. You know, sometimes walls come up, and you can't allow these walls to just take over. And only love can break those walls down. I want you to extend your hands, if you could. If you can extend your hands to the family here as I pray for them. I want to thank you, Lord, for the Kampenga family. As the congregation extend their hands to them, I pray that you comfort Mary. And you comfort Marilyn. And comfort Richard. Comfort every one of them, Lord, with your words. You said, if we believe in you, that you are the resurrection and the life. Even though we die, we shall live. Thank you that Alan is no longer suffering. He's in heaven with you. And he's waiting that one day there's going to be a big reunion. That they will see him again. Thank you that he's passed on the legacy. Being a good father, being a good parent. We pray that we want to follow after his footsteps. That we will be better people, better parents. So Lord, give them peace and give them comfort. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. We're going to have time for you to come to pay your respects to Alan's remains, and you can even say your condolences to the family at this point. You can come now.